Unleash the champion within.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big O here for the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show 2025 Week 1. Listen, I'm excited. You got your boy Baylin Truilio, beat you in QB training, former pro QB. Got my man AJ Brooks holding it down over there, certified dogs, GM and head coach, and the man, the myth, the legend, ahead on Mount Rushmore for high school football, Dan LaForest, with the director of NIL relations with the Influence Council. What's up, guys?
What's up, fellas?
Man, whole new look. I like this. I like this.
Just glad to be back. Glad to be back and ready to get another year of high school football talk and maybe some trash talking. Maybe Dan, some ADs will kick me off their sideline like last year with Osceola. Just glad I was right with the prediction.
Listen, man, I think we all had a full summer. AJ, how was your summer, man? Talk to me. What did you see this summer?
Summer was good. Did some traveling with the family. Just relax, get ready for this season. Obviously, we enjoyed the media days. So yeah, I had a pretty good summer.
Baylin, I know, were you out somewhere on somebody's beach? I'm pretty sure you was on somebody's beach, man. What were you doing?
Yeah, I was at the beach, all right. I was on a cruise, went to the Bahamas, a private island, got to travel a little bit, still did my quarterback training about 4 times a week. Have a new addition to the family. My son River was born February 15th, so been taking care of my son. I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Now Grayson has competition in the house. But yeah, no, man, it's been a great summer, much needed, but I'm ready to get back to work and kick this 2025 season with high school and then end the season going into 26 next year, man. I'm so excited about this. And it's been a long time coming, man, but the summer's done and now college football and high school's back. And of course you have to throw in the NFL, but let's be honest, Saturdays and Friday nights are what we look forward to the most.
Yeah. Dan,
you forgot one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
You forgot one thing, Baylin. Matt, you go to school? What are you gonna tell the people?
Yes, sir. So yeah, good point. Got accepted into the University of Miami's master's program. Starting that September 1st. I already did my student orientation this summer. Passed that, whatever class you want to call that, and now I'm fully in. And so appreciate that, AJ. I'll be officially a Miami Hurricane. I talk about the Canes a lot now. They're going to get some money out of me. So now I got stake in the game. So now hopefully in 20 months, I'll have a degree that'll be hung up somewhere around here. And I can officially say I am a Hurricane, so I can talk as much trash as I can because now I'm an alumni. So I look forward to that. Appreciate you giving me that shout out, AJ. But, yeah, it's been a dream of mine, and I'm actually doing it. So you live once, so why not put your name in where you want to go if you have those opportunities? And I told my wife I get accepted, I'm all in. And sure enough, they accepted me. And I don't know how, but God's grace. And I'm going to be a Cane, baby. Go Canes.
That's what's up. Dan, it seems like every time I turn on the TV, and we're talking about high school football, why do I see your face? What is going on?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm still trying to figure that out. And
Influencer Council,
watching.
The Influencer Council, baby.
So I know everybody's like trying to figure out why I'm here. I made it very public that I would not be on the show this year. So I'm honored to be your first guest. And obviously coming back with my guys and talking about the summer events and where the 2025 season's going. But yeah, I mean, I went on a cruise and Baylin didn't show up. That was one big event.
We were supposed to be on the same cruise. No joke. We were. And then the night before. Yeah, no joke. It was so funny. We were talking on the phone right before it happened. And I'm like, yeah, I'm planning on going on a cruise this weekend. He's like, Utopia of the Seas? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to be on that boat. And then sure enough, midnight of the night before, my wife didn't have enough supplies for breastfeeding our child. So we ended up canceling literally at midnight, right before we're supposed to be on a cruise ship 10 hours later. So Dan, unfortunately was not on the ship with me, but I know that we'd had a lot of conversations. So it might have been.
Well, actually, you weren't on the ship with me, but big shout out to my guy Ryan Jarman, man. He filled your shoes very well, and
Yes.
no, it was a good time. Obviously, a lot of summer camps, a lot of 7-on-7s. We got, obviously in the recruiting field, everything's still crazy during the summer, but let's talk about Central Florida High School football media days with Seminole State and Florida Central Sports, and again, I mean, this team right here, we delivered, and I've said it. I don't care who hears it. Nobody does it like we do it in Central Florida. 119 programs in 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And, I had people calling me going, I don't know how you top it next year. And I said, well, you have to wait till next year. So, the production on Varsity Sports Nation, AJ busted his hump, Alan Slaughter-Zinski, Drew Johnson, Jared Oliver, everybody involved, Courtney Shaw. It was such an amazing event, and anytime you can give a focus on high school programs and give them equal time, and that's the beauty of it. Everybody gets equal time, whether you're 0-10 or 10-0. And it was a wonderful event, and it's getting exciting as these things continue to progress. But so much to talk about in 2025, and I know, I was on the West 2 preview show last week with Darren Stoltzfus and Kristen Lago and Zach Maskovich, and those guys are amazing. And 2025, this is a whole new dynamic. It just seems like high school changes so much as we get into the off season. We have another record number of coaches changes. Transfers has been the big talk, but it's like I said before, it's nothing new. And everybody's talking about this or that. The reality is we have to understand what this game is, and this game is all about development of young men. And we have to do a better job supporting our coaches, not only in Central Florida, but across the state. They're not being compensated for the time that they're putting in. And, I know Dr. Andrew Ramjet, one of my really good friend of mine, is doing a wonderful job with the Florida Coaches Coalition with all the support he has. But 2025 is here, man, and it's time to show what everybody's done. Everybody's 0-0 right now. Kickoff Classics gave us a peek at teams, probably not the big picture. We're going to see the big picture starting on Friday night. Actually, we got a couple games tomorrow night, but Friday night is when it's time to start showcasing all the work and all the preparation.
Man, you hit it right on the head, man. Like AJ, like how you just feeling coming into 2025-26 season, man? How you feeling on the inside, man?
A lot of unknowns. Tomorrow, personally, I'll be at Lakeland, Auburndale, and then Friday I'll be at West Orange, Evans. This past week I went to TFA IMG on Thursday. On Friday I went to Edgewater, Bishop Moore, and then Saturday I went to Seminole Jones. So a lot of good football I got to see last week. Looking forward to this week as well. Just a lot of unknowns. You just never know. One thing's almost for certain. The top dogs will remain the top dogs, so to speak. But then you have other teams like Evans, Ocoe's, who's had an influx of talent come in, and they may have something to prove. So you just never know. The Osceola is supposed to have a down year last year, and they end up going to the state championship. So just the unknowns and trying to see who's going to be who this year.
Absolutely. Baylin, same question for you, man. I know you did some traveling, kind of regroup, kind of reset. But as you look ahead to 25-26 season, what's your gauge like?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see, obviously, how my quarterbacks that I train, how they perform. I mean, I give out shout outs every single Friday, Thursday, even Saturdays, depending on where they play. Just a little shout out to see what, show what they're doing, obviously, in the games, the performances, high performances. So obviously I love looking forward to that and getting those text messages and calls from those quarterbacks every single Friday night. I think that's obviously, as a trainer, it feels good to know your kid just went out there and threw 5 or 4 touchdowns or led a team to a game-winning drive or whatever that looks like. That way they get the notoriety they deserve throughout the year. But like AJ said, I think that everybody gets caught up in the name of a school, or they get caught up in what they did last year. Every single year is a new year, new team, new roster, new strength of schedule. And so getting to get a small look in media days, as well as myself going to different practices, or AJ going to different practices, or talking to multiple coaches and seeing where their rosters are at and stuff. You know, every year is a new year. And I think that the most exciting part about our job is to see which team elevates themselves where we never really talked about. You know, AJ mentioned Evans, right, and Okoye. Well, you know, I look forward to Lake Brantley. I'm also looking forward to see how maybe teams like DeLand respond after last year, see how a new Lake Mary looks. Obviously, we saw Seminole, right? Seminole is a whole new a whole new team look this year. They've been the perennial powerhouse here in Orlando. Now, you know, they're in a rebuild year. So just seeing how these teams respond and seeing which ones rise to the top. Dr. Phillips has kind of been mediocre. Now I feel like they're back to where their standard has been. So, yeah, I'm just excited to see which teams rise to the crop that we may not touch on, but they start winning and start playing as a team. And then we're starting to talk about them later in November, going into December and playoffs and state championships.
Listen, guys, we've been since we've been live for about 11 minutes. You guys can find us. We're live right now on X at VSN Florida. We're on our YouTube page, Varsity Sports Nation. We're on our Facebook page, Varsity Sports Nation. We have our mobile app. You can download us on the Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and soon to come the Samsung TV. So today we're blitzing the market, no pun intended. Dan, I was going to say, man, you look good on here, man, but I know you got to go.
Well, no, actually, I was thinking I'm going to stay because I want to get into this top 10. I want to hear what these fans have to say. Let's talk about the teams coming up. So I'm going to hang out, man. I mean, you know, it may be a while before I come back on. I'm going to take all this juice that's flying here at the beginning of the season because I don't want to be around the bullets here mid-season.
Yeah, talk about me traveling, being on a beach somewhere. I think Dan LaForce plans on being multiple different places in the next couple months. So he is definitely going to take advantage of tonight because we definitely might not see that beautiful face for the next dang near 2 months.
You never know where I pop up.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show presented by Influencer Council on Varsity Sports Nation. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
It's a simple idea. Can you leverage some of the biggest events in the world to change the life of a family down the street? How can a game here benefit someone here, or here, or here? At FCS, we organize events you love and use them to benefit the community we love. It's about more than a bowl game, more than football, more than a stadium. It's about impact on our neighbors and the next generation. Our roots run deep, and now we're branching out. Here, you're part of a story unlike any in the country about what we can do when we work together to go for the win. Bolder, brighter, stronger, together. Let's go win.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show presented by Influencer Council here on Varsity Sports Nation. Dan, AJ, Baylin, let's do a quick weekly recap of the Kickoff Classics. AJ, where were you at?
Thursday, I was at TFA IMG with Dan.
Okay. Tell us, what did you see out there, man? Talk to us, man. Talk to us.
All right. Let's get into it. So the game that everybody in the city was talking about, TFA went against the big dog, one of the big dogs in the nation. And I think for me, it showed me that it's levels to this. When I looked at the roster, I believe TFA has 11 3-stars. When I look at IMG's roster, they had 24. IMG doubled them with 4 stars. I believe IMG had 12 4-stars or something of that nature. But nevertheless, I think that IMG just won the ball game up front. Their defensive line was just too much. I do believe, just being honest with you, TFA receiving core, it didn't play to the standard that they could have played to, and that played a pivotal point in the ball game. And then the linebacking core for TFA, it is probably the weakest link of the team, and they're dealing with injuries on top of that. And no disrespect to those young guys, it's just the rest of the team is just loaded. The front four and the back end and the secondary, all 8 of those guys will be playing Power 4 football. So when you have that, you got to have a weak link somewhere, and it just happens to be the linebacking core. And TFA linebacker was 6'2", 235. I mean, IMG's linebacker was 6'2", 235. And in high school, you're not tackling 6'2", 235 all game. And the guy had 3 touchdowns. But number 3, McFarland, he clearly was the fastest man on the field. He took a jet sweep 80 yards. He also had 3 touchdowns. But TFA, they're a solid team. I think they're still good, but IMG might not be what they were 10, 15 years ago, but they still IMG.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I saw a lot of the same things. I think the biggest thing we have to understand too was IMG also had depth, and it was humid. I mean, we saw a lot of guys that weren't hydrated properly, or the humidity was just. I mean, I was dying, and I was just walking on the sideline. Again, I think when you take a look at a lot of these programs, you start scheduling massive programs. I don't care who you are. You're going to be tested on really who you are. And I think I agree with AJ on this. I think there's a development process. If TFA wants to be at that level, it's not going to happen overnight. I think there's a lot that has to happen. IMG's been in place for a number of years. TFA schedule this year, they're testing themselves. They're still suspended with the FHSA. They don't have a district, and they're not eligible for the playoffs. And they had to make some hard decisions to move forward. But there's so many great programs, and what I'm really liking, what I'm seeing, you're starting to see some programs emerge. We're going to talk about a few of those programs tonight, because I think we're going to start seeing a few teams that we haven't been accustomed to talking about here about midseason that are going to make a run potentially for the playoffs.
Absolutely. Baylin, I know you're kind of doing your own thing, training or whatnot. Were you able to go preview any matchups? I know it's preseason, but what have you seen so far?
Yeah, well, going back just the real quick on the IMG TFA game, everybody is wanting to see TFA. I mean, they put an absolute whipping on Lake Mary in the spring game. They had all this hype. Next thing you know, there's a lot of trash talking being talked on social media. A lot of kids were talking trash. Some coaches got involved, from what I'm hearing. And, if you're talking a lot, usually people are waiting to see you fall or back it up. And for what we saw Thursday night, that did not happen. I mean, IMG had their way pretty much in all phases of the game, special teams, offense, defensively. I was not at the game. I was planning on going, but with the weather going on, I didn't want to be out too late, especially with 2 kids and a wife at home. So I went home and watched it on the stream, which shout out to Coach TA and shout out to the crew at TFA. I know at first it was kind of glitchy, but they got it right, and we were able to watch a really good football game. I think they had 38,000 people watching. So a lot of people are tuning into TFA and what they're all about because of just the transition of what they've been doing in the city, taking a lot of the best players from multiple programs and putting together pretty much an all-star team. But like AJ and Dan alluded to, there are levels to this. And eventually that's where they want to be. They kind of got forced their hand quicker because of some things that happened last year. And now that they can't compete for a state title, they put themselves in a national schedule, also trying to claim national championships. That's what they're playing for. But let's be honest, it's just not going to happen, especially this year. I'm very curious to see what happens Friday night against Milton, a powerhouse in Georgia.
It's week 0, Baylin.
No. We're going to keep it because that was a football game, because it wasn't week 0 for IMG. That was a real game for them on their schedule. TFA wanted to win that football game. They tried. But at the end of the day, we're all part of the heat. We all have to put on the pads the same way. IMG has a lot more depth than TFA. Again, I think Dan just alluded to that. I think that really hurt TFA in the long run because they do have talent all over the football field. But if you are that guy, whether it's the 3-star, the 4-star, you got to honestly play like that when you play competition. Like McFarland, he separated himself. It wasn't even close. But then I'm looking at guys like Brian Williams, who, transferred from Lake Mary, who has arguably the best quarterback statistically ever in the history of this city. You leave that to go to TFA, which already has a loaded receiver room to be that guy. And they said it several times on the broadcast. He didn't even get a target in the first half. Maybe a jump ball or a deep corner route or something.
He had a pass interference in the second.
Yeah, pass interference. But if you're really an Alabama receiver, you got to show I'm Alabama. Or if you're this or that or 4-star, you got to show that on the defensive secondary. You're not going to let a sophomore, arguably the fastest guy in the state, just run by you easy for a post touchdown by a freshman quarterback who I think is very talented at IMG. But like I said, you got to rise to the occasion when you are that. Because I guarantee you, some guys like that Jones, like Larry Miles, Darion, like if they're playing in that football game, you're going to remember those guys when you walk off the field. But again, IMG is who they are. They're not as talented as we've seen in the past. They're starting to get local talent, which is awesome. The local 5-4-star guys, which is awesome for the city of Tampa, Sarasota, even down south, Fort Myers, Miami, some Orlando, like Jake Krull, who absolutely dominated the football game. He had 3 sacks in a row. The new Oklahoma commit, shout out to you from Bishop Moore. But yeah, I think just, again, the levels to this, but the depth really hurt TFA. But transitioning to what your question was, obviously the city was waiting for the classic. Jones and Seminole. AJ and myself were there. I was texting Dan LaForce some updates throughout the game, and I don't think he believed me on several one. He was literally texting me, dude, I think you're lying. But Jones was scoring at will in all phases of the game, special teams, offense, defense, had a pick 6 right before half. I mean, they had their way going up 42-0 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Again, this is a whole new year. Just because you have the Seminole name doesn't mean you're the same Seminole with the talent that they had last year and the year before. There's obviously some people that left to big-time major programs. Again, this could be a rebuild year for Seminole, trying to navigate their identity again. But Jones, I mean, I told you guys in the spring, they look the most efficient I've ever seen a football team in a spring game, and then they carried that on into a kickoff classic game. There's not a beat that was missed in both those games. They were able to score at will whenever they wanted, call whatever they wanted. It was there. I don't even think Jones punted one time in the entire football game. If they did, it was something that I don't remember, but or JV was in maybe, but yeah, it was just such a great game offensively for Jones. Darion Coleman's literally put himself in another category when it comes to just being an elite arm talent. Now he's a true quarterback with great poise in the pocket. But then Larry Miles, I honestly think he's the best receiver I've physically seen in person in a football game. Larry Miles is absolutely a difference maker, and I'm glad that obviously Darion and him have a really good relationship. I feel like they're going to put up massive numbers this year. But major shout out to Coach Elijah Williams. It's his birthday today. Happy
birthday, Coach.
We love you. I love you. You changed my life. So I wanted to give you a shout out there before I transition to Dan and AJ on this topic.
Hey.
But yeah, it was ugly Saturday.
So real quick though, so roster for roster, I think it's safe to say that in the Central Florida, TFA has the most talent.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we know that. That's why everybody.
But the crazy thing is, after I left the Jones game, I saw Darion at the TFA game, and he honestly said, "Man, we would have done better." And I said, "Whoa, slow down, young fella." But after I left the Jones game on Saturday, I agree with him. I think that Jones would have done a lot better versus TFA.
Automatically, they got more depth. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like you said about Larry, I'll be real. I don't think Larry scores no less than 20 touchdowns this year. I think Larry gonna score 2 to 3 touchdowns every game. I ain't
special teams, offense, at quarterback. He scored 2 touchdowns at quarterback and Wildcat too. So.
He's special with the football, bro. Larry, he different. He different.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, the funny thing is we really started to see him, like he had a great season last year opposite of Vernell Brown. But I think we really started to see him come into his own really in the offseason. It just seemed like every time we turned around, Larry Miles was doing something in 7-on-7, and he was starting to get a lot more traction in the recruiting area. And he's an exciting kid to watch. And that's the fun part of high school football, is watching these kids grow and watching them grow into something that they dream that they're going to be, and all their hard work's paying off. But at the end of the day, Baylin, I never said I didn't believe you. I just thought you were giving me 15, 20 minutes of updates literally in 4 minutes. And no, it was like Jones scored. And, again, you have to give credit to what the offseason and the talent that Jones has. We're going to go over our top 10 here very shortly. And I think a lot of it's going to make a lot of sense when we're able to explain it. But there's so many programs that I have marked down as you better watch out, because I think they're going to make a run here in the first 5 weeks.
Yeah, give me a number one program that you better watch out for, Dan.
Yeah, because we said
I don't know if I can give one. I think there's a handful. I love what Ocoee has put together. They've had a number of transfers come in, but I think they have talent in areas they haven't had the last 2 or 3 years. I called out on Channel 2. I love Southlake. I tell you what Brad Lord has put together the last couple of years and the talent that he has, And, I didn't get to see the film on them playing Lake Nona, but, and really, again, I don't give really a whole lot of merit to kickoff classics because you never know what a coach's strategy is. But Lake Nona is another one we've all had our eyeballs on with the amount of talent they have on them. DeLand is coming back with a bunch of kids that played as freshmen last year, sophomores.
Yeah.
We saw a transition from 2 years ago where they had, Wyatt Darlington, and we had all these guys. And all of a sudden, these young pups now are filling their oats, and they're still young. I mean, half that team, I think, is sophomores. If I looked at it, Oviedo is always going to be in the discussion.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that kickoff classic game, Oviedo Lake Mary.
Let's talk about Lake Mary and Oviedo.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it was the defensive coordinator threw a little shot at me, and he was like, it's not bad for a JV team, right, Baylin? Again, he misconstrued and went out of context. I said that last year when they got blown out at Lake Mary, and Lake Mary made Oviedo look like a JV team. But let's not twist the situation here. And if you guys were at the game, we knew the facts. I mean, Noah still had 345 yards passing against that defense and only allowed 9 points. But yet Lake Mary fumbled 3 times inside the 5-yard line, 2 on the actual goal line, which is 21 points. So if you really do the math, if they score, which they didn't, because turnovers are a part of the football game. Let's not get that wrong. But if they score, that's 21 points plus the 9. Obviously, that gives you 30 points. And then Oviedo scored on a kickoff return and I believe another touchdown. So that was 14. So 31-14 is a blowout. Another blowout, which they would have suffered, but they didn't because turnovers are part of the game. But let's not think that Oviedo just completely dominated Lake Mary, who's in a rebuild year that only has 6 returning starters total from both offense and defense, a team that went to the state championship last year, and then obviously the state regionals the year before Noah's sophomore year. So this is a completely new look for Lake Mary. They did get beat pretty bad against TFA in the spring game, but they're trying to get new starters, try to accumulate new guys on defense. But Oviedo didn't just go up there and say, we're just going to beat Lake Mary. Lake Mary beat themselves, still had over 400 yards of offense.
Oviedo ain't trying to hear that, dog.
I don't care what Oviedo's trying to
hear that.
Lake Mary been beating them. Oviedo team.
Lake Mary been beating them for so many years, so bad. They ain't trying to hear that.
There's not total yardage in the win column.
I said, congrats, you finally got it done this year. So good job, man. Good job.
I mean, like I said, I really like, and the thing is guys, we're covering 7 counties. I think mainland is going to be very, very interesting. Coach Squatty Bell took over that team last year. They ended up struggling early, but look at the run they made at the end. I think mainland's going to be a much better. I think they're a contender again this year. You cannot discount Osceola. Osceola is still going to be Osceola.
I don't know, man. That you lose your starting quarterback that took you to a state title and arguably the best running back in the state last year, and Swint, who's at UCF. They're going to go through some growing pains. And Nate West, I mean, talk about a performance. I was at the Dr. Phillips Boone game. Did not see that coming, how efficient Dr. Phillips looked, and he went absolutely berserk. In the time he did, he was splitting time with another kid, Tien. But every time Nate West was on the field, he made an impact play, whether it was a 60-yard touchdown run, a touchdown throw that caught the defense off guard. He did so many things in that game that gives DP so many things that they can do offensively. I'm very excited to see the arm talent as well as what he showed with his feet at Osceola, at Dr. Phillips, in that offense that Coach Sapp runs. I'm very excited because, honestly, I thought Boone with 17-plus transfers or something like that was going to look really good. They got Oak Ridge's best player at receiver. They have a lot of great pieces. Sam Johnson had a great offseason training. He looks really good. First drive, went down and scored in 4 plays. So there was a lot of promise there, but I was really shocked at how efficient Nate West looked at Dr. Phillips at quarterback, and that gets me excited about Dr. Phillips moving forward. That was a game that I was at Friday night.
Yeah, and just to carry on a little bit, everybody's talking about O'Galley, and they're talking about Cocoa over in Brevard County. I can't wait to see what Titusville does with Matt Diesel. Matt Diesel is now the head coach. He was the defense coordinator at Cocoa. It seems like there's a little bit of buzz over there in Titusville. What do the Terriers do here early in the season? I think this is going to be a thing. I've said this, guys. You guys have heard me say this for years. You don't know who you are till week 4 because you've got early injuries, you've got acclimation, you may have some position changes, but you definitely know who you are by week 6.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we can roll right into a top 10.
Yeah, let's roll, man.
Let's do this.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead, name them off.
Listen, here are our Central Florida rankings for week 1. We have At the number 10 spot, Ocoee.
Yep.
Number 9, Lake Mary. Number 8, Bishop Moore.
Ooh.
Number 7, DP. Now listen, guys, if you have any rebuttals in any of this, drop it in the chat. Number 6, Evans. At number 5, Coco. At number 4, Edgewater. At number 3, Ugali. Number 2, TFA. And number 1, Jones. This is as of week 1. Baylin, I see you over there itching. I want you to fall over. How you feeling looking at week 1 standings as of today?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. This was like the first time when we went over the rankings, I felt like it was easy to kind of see this play out. The one thing was obviously Seminole. We had Seminole originally in our top 10, but after what we saw on Saturday, they're going to have some, especially with the schedule they have, they're going to obviously have to prove it. Especially only scoring 3 points in 2 games in 8 quarters, giving up 84 points to Lake Mary and now Jones back-to-back. I think they have a lot to prove with their identity. But I love Ocoee here at 10. I think they got right in. Dan LaForce kind of helped when we were talking about and debating that, Ocoee with the addition of Tyson Davison, who brings a lot of offensive dynamic power to Ocoee with a great defense and several transfers from Apopka. I think that they rightfully get in the top 10. They're going to have a couple big matchups early on to kind of prove themselves, whether they climb up or get out of the top 10. Lake Mary, they're in the top 10 because they still had big opportunities offensively to show that they could still beat teams like Oviedo. But, obviously TFA put a nice little mollywop on them, but they're still, premier
Them boys in the top 10 because they got Noah Grubbs.
Yeah, exactly. AJ loves to say it. When you got Noah Grubbs,
quarterback in the country, you got a chance to win.
He always says that. You got to put Lake Mary because if you have Noah, you always have a chance to win. So he's always said that for the last 2 years, and he's been right. Bishop Moore, that was a team that slipped in there after AJ watched them and how great they played Edgewater, especially in the first half. And then I come to find out Bishop Moore had most of their JV in the second half and still stuck with Edgewater, who was really trying to make a statement with their varsity team. That showed me a lot about where Bishop Moore's headed. So I think they're going to have a phenomenal year. Dr. Phillips, awesome. I'm so happy they're back in the top 10. Evans seems to be the team everybody's talking about. I love Coach Odom. Worked with their quarterback who just transferred there from Leesburg, Mr. Woods. I'm really excited to see how this program starts to either rise or fall based off the running back play too. They're going to feed him the rock. I think he's the best running back other than Powell at TFA in the area. Could be wrong, but I'm betting on that kid back there in the backfield of Evans. Coco. I love Champ Smith. I love the addition of the quarterback play there. They're trying to go for a 4-peat this year, first time in history. They looked really good against a solid Bradford team Friday night. They lit it up in the air. So I'm really excited to see where Coco's headed with a lot of youth talent. Edgewater, obviously in the area, they're loaded. Carter Emanuel committed to UConn, has several different transfers as well. Coach Browning, he's getting his step in the Central Florida area. Really good coaching staff. So, Ken, they're going to have a lot of opportunities to prove themselves. But here we go, the top 3. Again, AJ, you're going to get to go through the top 10 as well. I'm just kind of giving you my take. O'Galley seems to be our favorite team on this list because we're excited to see, especially from a roster standpoint, with Joseph Allen and those boys, with Coach Sands and kind of the animosity he's building up where everybody wants to put the target on their back in Brevard when it's always been Coco. Now they seem to kind of take over a little bit with transfers. They could have a special season and start to put some receipts to some of these things later on in the year. TFA still, I think, top roster standpoint. If we were be honest, guys, and if everybody on this list was honest, that they lined up and went toe-to-toe with everybody on this list, they're probably getting the W at the end of the day. So let's not, IMG this. Everybody on this list, minus Jones, would have to, compete against IMG. So, there's teams on this list that's going to see TFA later on. So, a lot of that chatter like O'Galley, right? So we're going to see some teams get to play them and improve themselves. But arguably, nobody argued this. Jones is the number 1 team in Central Florida right now based on how they look from a team camaraderie, chemistry, how they looked in the kickoff classic and the spring game, what they've added in the summer. I just think this team is a completely special unit. Obviously, the loss of Vernell Brown hurts and Jaquel at running back. But at the end of the day, this team seems to continue to pick up the pieces. And when you have great coaching with that much talent, you are in every football game you play. So I think Jones is going to absolutely light it up this year statistically, and they're going to walk into the playoffs undefeated.
AJ,
Okay.
You
So
look
let
for
me
this,
see.
man.
Floor's yours, AJ, than Dan. I'd love to hear Dan's take because he finally can talk about these teams because he's always Mr. Nice Guy. But I want to hear Dan's take after AJ for sure on this top 10.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. There's only one slot here that I really question. That's Coco at 5. I believe Coco's Coco until they're not Coco. So let's give them a chance at the beginning of the season to be ranked a little higher. Again, we made some comments. And even a couple other teams, I'm waiting to see what they become. Lake Brantley. Lake Brantley has not been a strong program the last few years. Coach Kruzik's come in.
Yep, that was
He
a team
brings
that I'm high
over
on,
a couple
Dan.
guys. Jackson Stetcher over from Masters Academy, where he won, 2 state championships as an 8th grader and 9th grader, which is absolutely insane. And to watch that young man grow is going to be the next marvel here in Central Florida. But I do, and if you could just put that back up because I don't disagree. I think Jones is the top team in Central Florida until they're not. TFA, I think we're going to talk this thing to death. I am excited to see O'Galley. Edgewater, Coach Browning comes in to replace Coach Duke, and Coach Browning, what I saw in the spring game was just absolutely amazing. For a coach to come in and have a short period of time with 100, I swear to God, there must have been 100 kids that get off that bus. I think Edgewater is going to be a story. And, AJ, you brought up, they play NFL Academy, I think, next week coming in from England, which they went across the pond, man, and took care of business.
Well,
I think that's going to be a big test. And I've said this all summer. I've said this for a year. Carter Emanuel is the most underrated quarterback I've seen in the state of Florida. Carter Emanuel is going to put on a show this year, and it's going to be very exciting to see what he does. Evans, we've been talking about Evans for the last 3 years. This has been a momentum thing. Dr. Phillips, as long as they have that coaching staff over there, and they're constantly going to be competitive. Bishop Moore, I agree. I think they've added some pieces this year. They've got some returners that are going to be exciting, including, again, another guy I think is under-recruited is Amari Johnson, the running back. They got Kenyon Alston, the 3-star receiver that's committed to Illinois. You've got Trent Gummer, who has been an amazing, team leader for them for the last few years. And again, I don't know if there's really a whole lot to discuss about this because, again, I've never put a lot of faith into initial rankings because this thing's going to play itself out. And I guarantee you every year we get to week 11, this whole thing looks different.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yep. So when I look at the list, I think Dan and Baylin pretty much hit it on the head. Looking at Ocoee, I think the addition of Tyson Davidson takes them to another level. Plus, I believe the culture that Coach Buck has been building the last couple of years, I think we'll see him crossover and make that next step. Lake Mary, they're 9, honestly. No disrespect to anybody on that roster, but I believe personally, if you have a top-tier quarterback, you have a chance, and that's exactly what they have. They have a great coaching staff, good culture. The community's behind that team, so we have them at 9. Bishop Moore, we look at Coach Hedrick. He's just been doing it for so long. I believe my senior year was his first year coaching. So we're looking at 20-plus years. He just knows the formula at this point. And pretty similar deal with Dr. Phillips and Coach Wells. He's been doing it for so long that he's one of the few coaches in this area. Wells got a championship, you know what I mean? So, it's when you say it's levels, he's reached that pinnacle. And then we look at Evans. Evans, that's my boy, Coach Odom. He's been doing a great job since he's been the head coach. They have benefited from some transfers, but at the same time, that is a program that's been doing it the right way the last couple of years, similar to Ocoee.
AJ, you nailed it. I mean, the culture change at Evans since he's taken over has been mind-blowing. And, that's been a tough place to get that community to really stick and kids that want to stay there. And he's done an amazing job with that.
Yeah, because I'll give you a alert. Evans geographically has the most talent in Central Florida resides in the Pine Hills community. Teams like Edgewater, Ocoee, Dr. Phillips, Jones, Wakaiba, they all benefit from kids and leaving the Pine Hills area. If Evans gets it together and those kids stay in Pine Hills, it's going to be trouble for the whole city. So that's just that. When we look at Cocoa, they're at number 5. Obviously, you're looking at a team that has won 3 straight championships, went to 4 or 5 in a row. So to see them at 5 is kind of crazy. But it's the top 4 teams above them, Edgewater and Coach Browning, man, that system is crazy. What I saw, they're going to give a lot of teams problems because pre-snap, you have to make so many adjustments that you're thinking too much. They shifting guys here. They got an unbalanced line with 1 guard on the left. I saw them shift the tackle and the guard from the left to the right. Then they subbed out of the game and 2 wide receivers came in. And I'm just like, man, the average high school kid not going to know what to do with this. Then we look at EG. They arguably have the most talent in Brevard County. So we'll see if they're able to challenge Cocoa for that because, quite frankly, Cocoa is the Jones Haiku of Brevard County. No team in Brevard County could beat Cocoa, just like no team in Orange County has beaten Jones besides Edgewater in the last 5-10 years, so to speak. TFA, loaded with talent. I think Coach Conaway and his staff is doing an amazing job, not only building a program, but also raising men to be quality men in the world. So I think that's important. And then Jones, I mean, when I saw Jones do the Seminole, I was just crazy. I'm just amazed every year how Coach Will is able to just hit the reset button and it don't matter who's in the system. Like he gonna make it do what it do. And not saying that because before Darion, Julian was there, and when Cal Vesna was there, those offenses were explosive too. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's Jones the real deal.
Shoot, before him, yeah, Quadri Jones, and before
Quadri Jones, like exactly. So it don't even matter, bro.
Boney, and then it's like, all these Division I quarterbacks, and Jones just keeps loading up every year.
And the crazy thing is, after Darion, it's another one. Waiting,
sir, my boy Peyton Carroll. I believe he's going to be top 10 in America. Yep, 100%.
Yes, bro.
Yep. Nice. And even before Peyton, there was a Remy Jarman who was going to be a top quarterback in this area. So he was there for a short stint, and he'll be a Division I quarterback too. So yeah, Jones seems to always find somehow, ding ding ding, the best quarterbacks in this area.
But it goes to my point: if you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And when Jones always keeps a quarterback, they're always at the top.
Put it this way, no matter where Coach Williams is at, he's always going to have the best quarterback. So don't.
Guys, we covered a lot in this segment. We still have a lot more to cover. Guys, we're going to take a break. You've been watching Central Florida High School's Scoreboard Show presented by the Influencer Council here on Varsity Sports Nation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In the world of sports, every move counts. Every decision shapes your future.
At Influencer Council, we understand the importance of making the right choices and having wise counsel.
Our team specializes in legal counsel, ensuring every contract is airtight and every deal is in your best interest.
In this new world, financial responsibility is even more important than ever before. We ensure our clients understand this new responsibility and educate them on how to navigate it properly. Taxation obligations, investment opportunities, and purchasing assistance can mean the difference in their short-term and long-term success.
Our branding specialists work tirelessly to build and elevate your personal brand, making sure you stand out on and off the field. Join Influencer Council and maximize your opportunities. Legal, financial, branding, legacy. Your future starts here.
saying, man. I was grooving over there, bro. Yeah.
Man.
Welcome back.
It's a Dan LaForest original right there.
Yeah, Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show presented by the Influencer Council here on Varsity Sports Nation. Man, we've been chopping up with some good stuff for week 1. Now it's time to get into the games of the week. First game, Apopka at Coe.
Dan, you picking Dan?
Yeah, I'm about to say, is Dan picking this year or what? Are we doing this right now?
He decided to stay on. He decided to stay on. He's picking.
You dang right, man. You thought you were slick last year getting away with that. Now you get to say what you really feel.
Dan, the president, man, he like the mayor, man.
Dan's going to be like, well, let's see how many kids I signed on which team, and I'm going to go.
Nah, man, everybody like Dan, so I understand his position. It's like sometimes these people take these picks personal, Baylor. You know.
They definitely do. I'm kicked off sidelines at this point. I love
Let's just say this. I'm going to use some rationale in my discussion here.
All right. So who picking first, me or you, Baylin?
You can go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
All right, we flip flop. I got this one first. I'm taking a Coe. I love the Blue Darters. A lot of good friend, close relationships. I got a Coe and I think this is a rivalry game. This game has always come down to like 1-point game. I don't think so this year, fellas. I think Okoye is finna get down with the get down, and I got Okoye winning by. And shout out to Coach Marcus. Respect, man. I love what you got going on at Apopka. Congratulations on the new position. But I think this is gonna be a rough week 1 for him. I got Okoye by 10-14.
Yeah, Coach Marcus, congratulations on the new job. You're my guy, but I'm going to root for my guy. Tyson Davison, who was an Apopka Blue Darter legend, is now representing the Ocoee Knights. They take care of business. It's not even close. Now, shout out to Cody Owens, who's the new quarterback at Apopka High School, a transfer from Windermere, came from Ohio. So I'm excited to see how he develops throughout the year in his senior year. But Ocoee Knights, I mean, they have to get a Blue Darter to finally beat the Blue Darters. I'll say that. They've been close every single year, Dan. 14-15, 14-13, right the last
2021.
12, 2021. Guess what? This year, there is no more hoping it's going to happen. And Tyson Davison, the former Apopka Blue Darter, is going to lead Ocoee Knights over a sport team in a mollywop fashion.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, all I know is 4 years ago, Apopka was in the state championship, and their quarterback was a freshman named Tyson Davison. The reality is the reality. I think Ocoee is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a very emotional game for Mr. Davison because I know how much his heart bled blue. And win or lose, this is going to be a tough game for Tyson to play in. But, you know, Coach Gurley's done a good job with this program the last few years. I think it's finally time to harvest that fruit. And that's why, you know, I picked Ocoee to be a surprise program. Well, I should say a prize, but, you know, they're going to be a team to watch. But, yeah, Ocoee's going to win this game. I have no question in that. And it's going to be a fun season to watch. A lot of these teams grow. And Marcus Neeson's taken over a position where he has to rebuild Apopka. And I don't think Apopka's been rebuilt for a long time.
30 years.
How old am I?
It might even be longer for real, being honest.
Yeah. Next game we have is Miami Norland at Lake Mary. Baylin, you all right over there?
Go ahead, Baylin, your pick.
I'm gonna watch
this one.
Hey, I'm going to watch this game in Ohio. I'm flying out to Ohio tomorrow for a wedding. So, unfortunately, I will not be on the sidelines. But thank goodness for Lake Mary's video crew. They film all their home games live on YouTube. So, if you want to watch this game as well, you can do that. To watch Noah Grubbs and company, I'm going to take the Rams in this. I don't think Miami Norland's the same Norland team that we saw last year dominate with those defensive front. I think it's the best defensive front I've ever seen in a football game when I went to the Cocoa game. But I think Lake Mary and company win at home. They don't have the mistakes they made last week against Oviedo. I think they take care of the football and the time, and I think they come away with a close win. But I think, again, like you said, AJ, when you have Noah Grubbs, you always have a chance.
AJ, why are you shaking your head? The whole time, Baylin was talking.
Because, man, all right, hey, Noah, I love you. I love that staff. But at the end of the day, I was born in Miami. It's different levels to high school football. And the state of Miami football is different. If you think Lake Mary against Oviedo, they just lost in the kickoff classic, yeah. They ain't beating no Miami Norland, bro. It's like ain't no.
Now look, we just talked about 3 turnovers. They ain't doing it this week. They are not doing it this week.
Against a Miami Norland team, I don't see them getting in the red zone that many chances. I got Miami Norland beating them. Hopefully Lake Mary let me come to some games this year because I've always supported them. But to beat a down south Miami team, nah, dog. You got to have some dogs, and they've ran out of dogs this year. Like, just being real.
Dan.
Miami, Norland, that's an inner city team. That ain't like this one of the teams in Miami, dog. Like, you know? Yeah. Like, no, they're not beating Norland. Come on, man.
So I actually had a good talk with Larry Bluestein about Norland. Their strength of their team is that defensive line. And I think they're going to create a lot of problems for that young offensive line for Lake Mary. And listen, I don't care who's at quarterback. If you're having problems with offensive line, it's going to be a long night. I think if anybody can overcome that is Adam Donnelly with that offense and Noah Grubbs as their quarterback. I think it's going to be a close game, but there's a young man that we've kept an eye on here since early in the year, Kai Moore. At Norland, young quarterback, was extremely impressive at Prep Red Zone camp. I think this young man is going to be something very special to watch here in the next couple of years. I agree with AJ. I think Miami Norland's got the edge here. I'm not counting Lake Mary out because I don't give credit to kickoff classics. I think there's too many variables there. You've only been working. I think the kickoff classics give you the opportunity to really find out where you are. And that whole next week is about fine-tuning that and making, taking care of mistakes. It's mistakes that put you in trouble at kickoff classics. Week 1, week 2, like I said, week 4, you know who you are. I do like Norland here.
Hey, and real quick about Lake Mary, shout out to my boy Bear Schultz. I'll go ahead and say this right now. I think Bear Schultz I think he'll get 12 to 1,500 yards receiving this year with Noah at quarterback. So
next, we got DP at Dillard. Panthers against Panthers, huh?
That is my pick first.
Yeah, go ahead, AJ.
So we talked about those down south teams, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, I got DP on this one, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think DP got enough dudes. They got enough dogs. Coach Wells, he's been through the battles enough. Dillard is a respectable program throughout this state for quite some time, but I do think that I like DP. I'm going to take the Dr. Phillips Panthers to win this one.
Oh. Yep, and I'm going to agree with that. Dr. Phillips is going to win this football game. Dillard is Dillard because of the name, right? Historically, they've been a pretty good powerhouse down south, but they're in a rebuild year. They didn't even have a spring game, I believe, or a kickoff classic game, and they have sent DP 0 film because there's nothing to show. So maybe that's a strategy. I don't know, but I talked to Coach Sapp recently, and he's like, man, we don't know what they're going to do, but just know you're going to take care of what we need to take care of, and we're going to win this football game, and I believe it. I think that Dillard's paying them money to come down to beat them, and I think we're going to represent really well Central Florida, just like Lake Mary did last year when they went down and spanked Cardinal Gibbons. I think Dr. Phillips does the same thing this year and spanks Dillard, and I don't think it's close. I think they win by a couple scores.
All right, so you guys have missed the whole boat here. This is the Broward versus USA Classic, okay?
Right.
This is the biggest series of games on week 1 probably in the country. Coach Dr. Kevin Perry has done an amazing job putting this together the last few years. This was done last year where DP agreed to come down and play. I agree with you. I think Dr. Phillips takes this game. It is one of only a few games that aren't on ESPN and ESPN2 this weekend because you're going to see Shaman Madonna, you're going to see St. Thomas Aquinas, you're going to see some of these other programs on ESPN. I believe it is televised. I don't know who they picked to do it, but I like DP to go down there and take care of business. I think this is a showcase game for them. It's a pride game. They're representing Central Florida to go down to Fort Lauderdale and take care of this in Broward County.
Dan, didn't Lake Mary play in this last year?
They did.
Okay,
they did.
That's what I just said. They spanked Cardinal Gibbons. I said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right.
Well, Cardinal Gibbons wasn't Cardinal Gibbons last year either. But you go down to South Florida, you go on the road. I don't care where you go on the road. Win on the road is a tough deal. I don't care where you're at. And Lake Mary did a wonderful job. And I think DP's on that same course for this year.
Next, Evans take on West Orange. I think it's you, baby.
Oh, it's my pick. Yeah, it's my pick. AJ Chung and company. I love what they're doing offensively. AJ Chung is probably arguably one of the top 2028 quarterbacks in this area, along with obviously Jackson Stecker, we just mentioned. But it's all Evans on Friday night. I think they steamroll West Orange in the run game. I think that the addition of their quarterback Woods from Leesburg, I think he's going to have a pretty good game, but I think they're going to rely mostly in the trenches. And I think, honestly, that's where Evans is going to pull away. I believe it's going to be maybe like 28-7. 31-14 type of game. But, yeah, Evans, look for them to dominate behind the run game.
Yeah.
Not so fast, my friends.
Ooh, Lee Corso. Little Lee Corso.
There we go.
Don't forget what West Orange did last year.
Okay.
Dan just loves to live in the past, like these Florida Gators out there, man. I do. Wait, Dan, are you a Florida fan? Oh, wait.
Are you really going to interrupt me when I'm getting ready to make a point?
Go ahead, Dad.
What we saw West Orange do last year, okay? And Geno Thompson was Orlando Touchdown Club Coach of the Year and absolutely deserved it. I think we need to be very cautious with West Orange because, again, A.J. Chung now is the quarterback. It's his job. I think they have a lot of talent. But I agree with you. I think Evans – I don't think this is – I think this is an edge game. I think Evans is going to win this game, but it's not going to be by much. I'm excited to see the outcome of this, and I think it's a closer game that you guys are leading on to.
All right, so let's look at West Orange. Hey, Dan, much respect to all the coaches in this area, but Coach Geno, he was my pick for Coach of the Year. I thought he did an amazing job last year, but Evans beat West Orange last year 39-13. I love D2. I love AJ Chung. I love everything they got going over there, but I don't think it's going to be close. I think D4 is the best running back in the area. The only other running back that I would arguably say over him is my boy in D-Land. But other than Taj Moore. Other than Taj, it's a short.
What about the Powell kid from TFA? He's like that.
Like I said, and I love Jalen. I think Jalen is cool, but it's only one other running back in this area that I would think about taking before D4, and that's Taj, only because he's 2 years younger. He's a sophomore. Yeah. So when you look at that value, but right now, D4, he had 130 something over them last year. I think he continues the trend. And I like Evans to win that ball game.
And AJ, you can't slip on that turf, baby. He gonna be running all night long.
Number 5, Cocoa Tigers take on Merritt Island Mustangs.
I got Cocoa. Yeah, I got Cocoa. I mean, no disrespect to Merritt Island, but I don't see Merritt Island being Cocoa. Not this year. So yeah, we just keep it short and sweet. O'Keefe's battle, one of my boys, him and the crew. I just think that Coco's just too much. I think they'll easily win this game.
Yeah, I have to agree here. This game was interesting because I was training Champ and Kevin at the same time in the summer. Champ had just transferred to Cocoa. Kevin I've been working with for several months. I've been training Champ for like a year and a half now, but he finally got to Cocoa. So seeing them talk a little trash in trainings was fun. But that hype, I was starting to believe the hype that this was going to be a football game until last week when I texted Kevin, text me your stats, and he's like, Coach, it just wasn't good. And they played Fort Pierce Central. From that point, I'm like, yeah, Coco's going to steamroll Merritt Island. I wanted this game to be a pretty cool game. Obviously, with the two quarterbacks I train, I think Kevin's an explosive talent at quarterback, started picking up some offers late in the summer. But I just think with Champ Smith, the pedigree that, Coach Snyder has with Franco, the young talent that they have, like Dan said, they're the top dogs. You got to beat them to take over, and I don't think this is happening this week. I think it's a mollywop. I think they win 28-0, maybe 28-7. But I think Cocoa has enough to beat Merritt Island when I was really excited to see this football game because of the trash talk in trainings.
Yeah, I have mad respect for what Tyler Murray's done at Merritt Island. I think he's brought back a competitive edge that the Mustangs needed. I think he's got a solid group of kids this year. I think they're going to have an amazing season, but Coco's Cocoa until they're not Cocoa. It's the same as Jones. Jones is Jones until they're not Jones. And, I like I said, I don't think Cocoa should be the number 5 team. But, I think this is the beginning of the the 4th straight championship for the Cocoa Tigers.
Number 3, Galley at Vero Beach. Very interesting.
Your pick.
Yep. Honestly, I love O'Galley in this. Now, Vero Beach has he came out as the number 1 quarterback in America in his class at Vero Beach. He's a phenomenal talent. We got to see him against Dr. Phillips a couple years ago in a playoff loss, but we were like, who is this freak of nature, a quarterback that they had? But I just think, I'm going to ride the hype train with O'Galley. I think roster standpoint, I still think Joseph Allen's one of the best quarterbacks in the state. Obviously, a kid I train, so a little biased, but not really when you see what he's done. AJ had a clear look with him this year with certified dogs, who I hooked him up with. I'll take pride in that. But yeah, Joseph Allen is an explosive talent with the guys around him, the offensive line, their defense. I think with Coach Sands, what he's got going on there, this is a team I'm going to roll on until they tell me otherwise. So that's why they're ranked 3. So I'm going to take O'Galley in this matchup against arguably the best quarterback in his class in the state.
Yeah, I think this is the test out of the gate for O'Galley. Vero Beach is an incredible program, and they dominate really a lot of the majority of the talent out of Indian River County. So I think this is a big one. I think this is a big one for O'Galley coming out of the gate, because a win down there really sets the tone for the season. But it's going to be a tough game. This might be a lot closer than people really want to admit. But I'm going to give O'Galley the edge just because we're backing the momentum for them right now. Let's give them the edge in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised no matter what the outcome is going to be on this one.
No, I agree. Last year it was a 27-29 ball game. EG did win that game. Mr. Mons, he threw for 299. My boy Joseph Allen threw for 288 in only 29 attempts, whereas Mr. Mon had 37 attempts. I think Joseph Allen could play with any quarterback in the state, in the country. I'm a believer. He's QB1 for me. And I think the additions, the people that he have around him, Xavier Lorenzi, X-Man is one of the top pound for pound. He's one of the best athletes in the state.
Oregon Duck commit.
He plays football. He played every position in football, but he can excel in baseball as well as basketball. He's a top tier athlete. And I think they hold it down. I think it is a close game, but I got EG beating Vero.
Number 2, Milton, coming from Georgia to First Academy. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Guys, what are your thoughts?
I got to go back to back. All right. I love TFA. TFA, my way, Mitchell. I love everything y'all doing. Mavity, y'all my boys. But what I saw last week, I cannot act like I ain't see it. And the concerning areas for me, I think Milton will be able to take advantage of it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Milton quarterback is like 6'3", 6'4", like 220. He's a bigger guy.
Eric Baker, former St. Thomas Aquinas Raider.
Exactly. So D-Bake like 6'4", 220. In high school, I don't care what position you play. You 220, you 220. And you running with the ball coming downhill at 220, that's 220. And I just think that I think Milton will win, man. I mean, I'm reluctantly, I don't want to say it, but I think Milton will win it. I think the depth and all of that put together, I think Milton will win.
Baylin, let him have it. Let him have it, Baylin.
Yeah, I think the only advantage that TFA has in this football game, honestly, is the fact that Milton has to travel down here. Obviously, it's hard to win when you're on the road, especially in a bus. A lot of kids cramp. They're not hydrating themselves well because they're worried about getting to the school fast or try to get here on time. I think obviously they're going to come a day before. But yeah, I'm going to have to agree with AJ here. I think that TFA from a roster standpoint might look better than Milton, but Milton has only lost 1 game in 3 years, and that was in a kickoff classic last week against Buford, which is arguably one of the best teams, if not the best team in Georgia, whereas Milton has been the best team in Georgia the last 2 years, winning back-to-back state titles under Luke Nickel, who's now a Miami Hurricane. So I think that Milton has a lot of firepower. They're used to winning in games like this, whereas TFA is trying to learn their way through beating big-time opponents. Milton's obviously a top 100 team, Don't know where TFA is now after that shellacking last week. I'm sure they're still in the top 100, maybe 92 or something. But I'm going to take Milton in this game. I think Milton's going to beat TFA at home. Not discrediting TFA. Obviously, we want the hometown team to win. But if we're going to be honest, do a prediction segment like we've always done, I'm going to take Milton here.
All right, so another factor here with Milton, you may not know, they have the number 1 tight end prospect in the country in the 27 class. I talked to Derek Baker actually this week. He is really excited about this season, and he should be. He's an incredible talent. But the reality is this. TFA learned a lot about themselves last week, and I have a feeling they learned even more about themselves in practice this week. As long as everybody's healthy, I do give the edge to TFA this week because I think this is a game they really have to win. Just for morale. I mean, it's tough to have the schedule that they have, and they need a win early. They got Phoenix City coming in from Alabama next week, and then they go on 5 weeks on the road before they come back home again. So I think TFA is going to win this game just because I think those kids are going to buckle down and make it happen. They've still got some kids that are questionable whether or not they play Friday night, and I think they're key additions. But when you've got kids like Danny Odom and Devin Jackson that are leaders on that defense, you have kids on the offensive line like Reed Ramesier and Chance Barclay. They do not want to lose 2 in a row. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they react and how they respond on Friday night.
Number 1 game that we have on our schedule to watch, Jones at Winter Park. Baylin.
Oh, you threw this in there. I thought our game of the week was TFA and Milton, but this is the nice little addition here. The last game that we're going to talk about tonight to close the show. I think there is no other way to go out this without saying Jones is going to absolutely mollywop Winter Park. Winter Park does have great pieces, not saying, trying to take credit, but I just know what Jones possesses. And what I saw on Saturday against Seminole, I think, honestly, Seminole is still better than Winter Park right now from what I've seen. I don't think this is close, guys. I think this is an absolute trounce. I think Darion throws 3 or 4 touchdowns, hopefully more than 9 attempts like last week, but they kept scoring. And I think Larry Miles goes absolutely crazy. Jones by a blowout.
So I'm going to send a message here, and I think this is everybody Jones plays. I would take every great athlete on offense and put them on defense every week because if Jones can't score, they can't embarrass you.
Dan, you know what's crazy? I think we're at that point where it's like teams aren't really preparing for Jones to win. It's almost like they're preparing to keep it close. Like they don't want to get blown out. So they'll take care of the ball. They'll try to kill the clock. I think it's just crazy to think that that's the mindset now playing against Jones High School is like, we have to kill the clock.
Yeah. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Jones is an extremely talented program across the board. I'm excited to see, and this is always the question every year. We talked about this, right? We know what they've had at quarterback. We know what they have at wide receiver. We have a good understanding of what their offensive line looks like. I think the question every year with Jones is, what does a running game look like? And it seems like there's always an answer, and we don't have really that answer yet. And that's what it's going to merge. Again, you see an aerial attack because they can pretty much take care of anybody that doesn't have a pass rush. But again, I think you have to look at the positive side of this. I do like what Winter Park has. I think that the player nobody is talking about that is going to have a breakout year is Eshawn Sutton. And yeah, I mean, I like Jones in this game. I listen, I'm going to sit here and look at this every week and go, Jones is going to win. But like I said, I think this is about how do you put your kids in the best position? And if I'm going to defend Jones, I have a lot of guys that maybe not play defense. I'm teaching them how to play defense in that week just so that you have a chance to slow Jones down. But listen, Jones is just that team. And the same way Coco has been. You just have to find a way to survive in a lot of cases and get to the next week. But, that's just the world of high school football now is, we've had a number of programs that just have more talent and that's why they're in that conversation. But I will say this, Jones has been this close, the last 3 years of winning a state championship? I think this is the year.
They always lose to a down south team. So that if that is any consolation prize, obviously it's not. But yeah, I like Jones in this game. I agree with everything everybody's saying. Shout out to my boy DJ Hicks. He's a 1,000-yard receiver from Buhost that transferred in. I believe he'll be a 1,000-yard receiver at Jones, along with Larry Miles. I think Cameron Lee. You got my boy from East River, McCluster. He came over at running back. So I think the running back position, it'll get filled. But they were just so explosive against Seminole that we really didn't get to see their true offense, so to speak. Yeah. Jones scored in every facet of the game. They scored a defensive touchdown. They scored a punt return. So they scored in different phases of the game. But I like Jones in this game. Only teams in this area that's beaten Jones in the last 5 to 10 years has been Edgewater. Osceola has kept it close with them. Everybody else getting blowed out, they getting blowed out, and I think that this is gonna be another blowout. Eshawn Sutton, I love Eshawn, but I like Jones in this game.
Guys, we just wrapped up week 1, 2025-26. Dan, final thoughts. I know it's past your bedtime.
Oh, it is. There's no question about it.
Thank you for jumping on with us, man. I enjoyed your company tonight.
No, listen, and congratulations. Good luck with this. You have a big weight you have to carry for taking over for Heath Ziegler. What Heath Ziegler started, what I've been blessed to be part of for the last several years, and it's going to be fun being a fan now and watching you guys every week. So I'm always available. You need me, whatever you need. You'll see me on the sidelines. I'll be at a number of games this year, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'll be announcing the week 1 Orlando Touchdown Club Players of the Week probably on Tuesday, and everybody knows what that means. So we'll be excited about that. And really our first, and I want to talk about this for a minute too, is, 3 years ago I started the Orlando Touchdown Club Coaches Hall of Fame. And the first inductees were Phil Ziegler, Cesar Campana, and the late George Clayton. And last year we inducted Bill Gerke, Chip Gerke, and Larry Gurgley. This year we're inducting Gary Pricer, who was, Gary was everywhere in Central Florida, including, I believe he was a superintendent down in Osceola County for a few years. And Mike Bishalia, who put Lake Howell on the map back in the late 80s and early 90s. And, that's such a great honor to have those guys. And, also I want to take a moment and thank Jimmy Buckridge, who retired this year, who was the oldest tenured coach in Central Florida. Jimmy's going to end up in the Coaches Hall of Fame as well. And now, right now, I think Matt Hedrick owns that crown, guys. I think Hedrick's the old guy. And not far behind Scott Perry. So, at Lake Mary. So, again, we have an influx of young coaches, and we're starting to see some of that transition. But it's going to be an exciting year. Again, I'll be doing some stuff for Prep Red Zone. I'll be doing some stuff around the state. I'm excited. This is going to be fun, and I wish you guys the best.
Thank you. AJ, last words, final thoughts, man, for tonight.
Final thoughts is this week, the game of the week has to be West Orange Evans, because that's where I'm going to be at. I don't know how the game of the week, Milton TFA, if I ain't going to be there.
Well, it's not far away, so if it goes one way or the other, you can skip down the road.
But, I look forward to seeing Evans versus West Orange this week. Tomorrow I'll be at Lakeland, Auburndale. Side note, we saw what Lakeland got done to by those Miami boys, so good to see how Lakeland bounces back. But I mean, football's here. Me and Baylin talked about it. We got college football this weekend, Iowa State, Kansas State. So, I mean, life is good. When you love football as much as I do, this time of the year, it's the best time of the year. It's showtime.
Baylin, final thoughts, man. I know you're going to be playing pretty soon.
No, yeah, just don't take anything personal on this. It's just an opinions, guys. We love this show. We love high school football. Of course, you want every player, coach, team to do great this year. We're just excited to see how this elevates and how this moves forward and throughout the season through December. Hopefully we have a Central Florida State champion or several of them representing in every classification. That's ultimately what we want in the goal. But our job is to find out who the best teams are in this area, and we talk about them. So good luck to all the teams. I can't wait for this show next Wednesday. Appreciate you, Big O, for joining us, and Dan for carrying the sports the last several years. And look forward to year 7.
Yes. Listen, guys, this concludes our first episode of 2025 Central Florida High School Scoreboard Show. This is Big O, Ontavius. You got my man AJ Books, Baylin Truilio, my man Dan LaForest signing off for tonight. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place.
Peace.
Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within. Varsity Sports Nation. Unleash the champion within.